much of our lives inside. Either in traffic at work or close eyes. How about we all agree that it's way overdue to take back our lives? I can work wherever now. You can work wherever now. Take your guard and let it down, 'cause you can work wherever now. Take your guard and let it down, 'cause you can work wherever now.
What's up, guys? Welcome into the Work Wherever podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about technology, tech trends, remote capabilities, and work, and so you can live every day like it's Saturday. Today, we're going over a few different statistics, polls that I've been tracking, keeping out there, and wanted to share them here with you guys. And first, if this is your first time listening, thanks for being here. Just told you who we are and what we're doing here. But I do encourage you guys to give me some feedback. This is a collaborative show. In the spirit of DevOps, I want you guys to give me some feedback. So if you're listening on YouTube, leave a comment on one of the episodes if you see them. Like, subscribe while you're there. If you're listening on another platform such as LinkedIn or Twitter Spaces or within our Facebook group, the Go Work Wherever Facebook group, leave a comment. Let us know that you're listening, and, who knows, if you got a question or something like that, I actually get these questions. They can pop up. I can see them and stuff like that. Like, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, I can actually show a question so I can see that I, myself, went on LinkedIn and wrote, if you got a question, hit them here, so that I could show that, so I can actually answer questions live and on the show, and you guys can interact, because that's why I'm here. I want to make sure that I'm providing value, and I'm not just talking to myself here. So today we're going to get into... if that's not a long-winded introduction, but I've been known I talk. People tell me that I'm a talker, so I like to live up to it, right? But we're going to get into collaboration, and we're going to get into, more importantly, we're going to get into collaborative intelligence and what exactly that means and how you can use it, and why every business actually needs it, and where we're going and how we're moving as a society, most importantly within the tech trends of societies. And so for those of you who have not heard me use the term collaborative intelligence before, this must be your first day. Welcome on in. But collaborative intelligence characterizes multi-agent, I'm reading off of Wikipedia now because I have my own definition, but collaborative intelligence characterizes multi-agent distributed systems where each agent, which could be a bot, human, us, or machine, computer, is autonomously contributing to a problem-solving network. So what that means is you have a network of things that you are trying to solve, problems. You have a whole bunch of problems. We'll call them support tickets, if you're into that. Or it could be an onboarding process. So I was in Nashville for a conference about a week ago. And I had somebody that came up to me and they were like, well, what do you do? And I tried to explain what it was to, hey, Alexandria Youngkite, what's up? So I was trying to explain what it was that I did. And so somebody was like, everybody needs this, when I was explaining to them the process of automation. And so I was like, yeah, everybody needs this. They need to automate their things, but you need to make sure that you're automating in a very specific way so that human interaction is involved. And so an example that I gave him, or what he gave me rather, was the onboarding process. He was a realtor, and it was the onboarding process of realtors. And he said, I need certain amount of information from my client so that they can, I can tell if they're pre-approved or if we can move forward and all that other stuff, right? So, okay, so there's a series of questions, and then there's a score that you have associated with these series of questions that allows us to move forward in the process. He's like, yep, that's it. Cool. So what you can do is currently you could just involve it as a straight manual process where people fill out the forms, email them to you. Hopefully they're encrypted, and you get the emails and you fill it out manually and you review every single one and you process them through based on your own understanding of their score. That's probably what you're doing right now. He's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I said, okay, how many of those can you do in a day? And he's like, oh man, if I'm absolutely killing it, I don't know, 50. Okay, not bad. What if we could 100x that, right? Because you can only scale via one individual person. The only way to scale in that scenario would be to hire somebody else and hopefully they can get 50 done, but they are probably really going to get maybe 25 done because they're probably going to have the asking for your permission for things, and you're actually going to potentially hurt, at least at first, your productivity, because if you were doing 50 by yourself and now you're having to answer questions for a new person, maybe you're doing 40, they're doing 25, so now you're at 65, so you're really only getting 15 more accomplished, right? These are just made up numbers, but you understand the point that I'm getting at, right? You can only scale to a specific point. So that's where collaborative intelligence and artificial intelligence comes into play. So if you turn those forms into a process, automated, through either AI or robotic process automation, where they're filling out the form, and then based on their responses, so credit score, okay, if they put in that, if you need a specific credit score to say, it has to be over 600 or whatever, and if it's between a specific range, then do this and do that, hit them with negative points, etc. So you can filter these out to make a more humanized decision at the end. So they fill out the form, they get scored based upon their responses. The computer automatically rejects certain individuals' scores based on the responses of criteria that you have set, and then feeds you the ones that you actually need to look at so that you can make a human decision. You're problem solving with a machine, with a network, and with artificial intelligence. This is collaborative intelligence. And so when talking about collaboration and collaborative intelligence, a lot of the problems that we see around the workforce is miscommunication. It's specific to teams and teamwork. And so these are some statistics that I have pulled from various workplace polls that have come out as to what is important to executives, business owners when it comes to teamwork and collaboration. These are general workplace statistics. And so 75% of employers view teamwork and collaboration as being important. That should come to no surprise. The other 25%, if they say that collaboration and teamwork is not important, then they're likely working in a field where people are individuals and who knows what they're doing over there. But 75% is still a relatively high statistic. 86% of executives and workers claim that a lack of collaboration or ineffective communications is a top reason for failure in a workplace. So that statistic right there is one that collaborative intelligence aims to solve. So back to our example of the two people who are working on the realtor problem that we just talked about. Somebody fills out the form, the hard copy forms. They come in. We say, okay, we're going to split these between the two of them. One person's relatively new. Then we have the person who is the owner and the decision maker. And if those two are not collaborating or communicating in any form of fashion, then you're going to have a prolonged process. So the person who doesn't really understand the process, maybe they're just looking for keywords, key points, and maybe they're filtering it out to hand it over to you to make a decision. Or maybe if they are tasked to make the decision, if they don't understand the process and they're not collaborating and you don't have any sort of teamwork, it can end in failure to say that maybe somebody was approved who was not supposed to be, or somebody was not approved who was supposed to be, and prolonging the process. So that's where collaborative intelligence aims to fix. And so here's another statistic for you. 75% of employers say effective teamwork is critical to the success of their business. So not only does lack of collaboration or ineffective communication hinder production or lead to failure, but effective teamwork is critical to success and more production, right? which makes complete sense. Because if we're not working together as a team and we're not collaborating and communicating with one another, how can we be productive? Especially in today's modern environment when we have displaced workforces. That's a lot of the argument as to why people are trying to push people back to the office, is to say people are just simply not communicating properly. So instead of trying to fix avenues of communication or understanding where miscommunication is happening, they're just saying, bring everybody back. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. Get everybody in a room and just have them yell at each other. But that's not really solving the problem, because just because somebody is sitting down the hall doesn't necessarily mean that they're communicating or collaborating, at least effectively. So more emphasis needs to be placed on collaboration. And whether you are implementing collaborative intelligence or just wanting to go human to human, you need to draw out what is expected, what are the necessary inputs, what are the measurables that equates to success or something passing. Because a lot of people understand it when you're talking about collaborative intelligence to say, somebody needs to score above a 70 in order for them to be passing. We'll say that. And so if you pass this, if you say this answer, you get a point. If you say this answer, you get 2 points. If you say this answer, you get -2 points. And they built out this process quiz, and they come to a score at the end of it, right? People understand that mostly when you're talking about artificial intelligence. We've all taken a quiz on Facebook or Twitter or name your social media platform where it's like, which Friends character are you? Right? I'm a Joey. And you're asked these crazy questions. Or a Hogwarts. Which Hogwarts house are you? The Sorting Hat. That was one that we actually just took as a family recently. And I got Hufflepuff. I did. And so it asks you a bunch of questions. It's like, if you played Quidditch, what position would you play? Obviously, I'm a seeker. Obviously. And then it's like, if you were, what's your favorite color? Gold, silver, green, or blue, or whatever, right? And it asks you a bunch of questions, and based upon your response, it leans you to a persona. Team Hufflepuff, or Gryffindor, or Slytherin. Which my son got Slytherin, which he was pumped about. I don't know if I should feel good about that or not. He was like, it got his response, and I was like, you are Slytherin. He's like, yeah! I'm like, excuse me? the bad guys. I guess the bad guys. I mean, are they bad? Yeah, they're the bad guys, right? So anyways, based on your responses of these quizzes, it puts you in a specific box or a persona. And then based on that persona, you see, that's how your results, whether you're pass, fail, or just get information back. And then from you're able to make a humanized decision based upon those results. So my son thinking Slytherin's a good thing, then, God bless him. And he thought it was good. But he makes a human decision around those results. That's collaborative intelligence. And so whether you are building a Hogwarts generation tool, Sorting Hat, or a Friends calculator, you're putting weighted systems behind these questions. So oftentimes we miss the boat when systems and technology isn't involved. So if we're not trying to decide which Hufflepuff or Slytherin or Harry Potter house you are, then we say, that's not really that important. Let's just move on. And so then instead we allow humans to make the total decision to say, tell me what you think of this person. Well, that's a really hard thing to do for somebody, because if I hand it over to somebody, she will read it in a way that I won't. Maybe she'll focus on the grammar. Maybe she'll focus on if they're using big words, or maybe if she has her own judgment of a scenario, whether it is a ticket. That's where I have the biggest beef in the technology, is that there is no real definition of a ticket to say whether something is low, medium, high, or heat ticket, right? Heat is like, okay, it's mission critical, everything's broken. Okay, clear definition. Okay, but what is the difference between high, medium, and low? Well, the end client, they said that it was high. Well, yeah, they're always going to say that's high. But what's the definition there? If you leave it up to the individual human to make their own decision, then they're going to make the decision based on how they interpret the situation. And so if we can move artificial intelligence, the way that we build artificial intelligence, if we can move that scaled system of teaching a system of how to interpret things, and we can move that into checklists, areas of emphasis, and scoring, and we can move that into a human element to make a decision, and then build a bot or an automated process to assist the human in making that decision, that is collaborative intelligence, and that's the only way forward with the way technology is going right now. Because if we rely too heavily on a bot, things are gonna go bad. Think about it this way, okay? This is something that we're all probably pretty close to. We're buying these cars nowadays, right? And so you bought a car in the 60s and 70s, and everybody could change their own light bulb. Everybody could change their own tail light. You could change your own oil, and hell, you could probably change your own battery and maybe even switch out some parts of the engine, right? You understood the vehicle. You understood how the vehicle worked, and you didn't have to be a mechanic to understand these things. Then as cars progressed, either by design, which is probably the case, or just through our lack of knowledge and understanding and convenience, we slowly got away from understanding how a vehicle is run and how to maintain the vehicle. I'll admit, I can't change my own oil. I have no idea how to change an oil. And I don't really want to learn, to be honest with you. I could just go to Jiffy Lube, or the car that I actually just bought, they gave me free oil changes. So why would I want to learn how to change my own oil when the dealership does it for me? And so we as humans, but me in this example, will lose this skill because we simply don't use it. So if we get into business processes, the more that we don't do a process or aren't involved in the process, the more that we're going to lose that skill of the process. And that's where automation becomes very dangerous, is if we have something that is just supposed to run, eventually we're going to have individuals who just don't know how it's supposed to be done and have relied heavily on the machine to get it done. That's why collaborative intelligence is important. If we turn it over to full AI, then what happens if there's a mass power outage? What happens if the process breaks? What happens if insert scenario and we have to go back to a paper process? Which is a totally normal thing in the business world. Okay, hey, this is broken. We need to go back to a paper process. Okay, well, the machine always emails it to somebody. I don't know who it goes to. That should never be the case. So we need to make sure that we're documenting things out. We need to make sure that we understand the adequate scoring and how to read a process or how to weigh out a system, and to make sure things can get done absent of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence should be there to assist us in making decisions quicker, better, faster. That is collaborative intelligence. If they are making decisions for us, we will very quickly lose the ability to understand the process and what is supposed to be decided. That is a very dangerous thing. So that is the topic of du jour. That is the podcast for today. I want to get on and just jump on and talk about collaborative intelligence, because without collaborative intelligence, I see more and more danger throughout the business world, specifically around technology. And the way that technology and things have worked when you're talking about inventions in historical sense, if you think of Thomas Edison, where he says, I didn't invent the light bulb, I invented 1,000 ways not to invent the light bulb. That's one of his favorite quotes, right? Okay, well, what about 1,000 ways to not invent artificial intelligence? It's a pretty scary thing. Oh yeah, well, we got artificial intelligence right, but don't pay attention to those other 1,000 bots over there that are just, breaking and trying to take over with some Terminator effect. Don't pay attention to those, right? That's where artificial intelligence is different than creating a light bulb or creating a chair or anything else that we've ever done in history, because the whole purpose of artificial intelligence is that it can think for itself. And when you enable a computer or a machine the ability to think for itself, it can make decisions for itself. And when it can make decisions for itself, it can analyze data in a specific way that if you don't understand that data or how the process is supposed to play or the analysis that the machine is going through, then things can get very dangerous very, very fast. So I am releasing a masterclass on Introduction to Automation and the 5 steps, the 5 basic steps to go through before having to build and design automation. So look out for that. It will be launching sometime next year. We're in the process of recording it right now. It will be released on onlineacademy.cloud, which is our learning platform. It's an on-demand learning platform. We will launch with 2 masterclasses, and then we will begin to add as we go. All built around communication, collaboration, and technology trends and technology within the workforce. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/@capitalpresence. We got the handle. YouTube has handles now. Welcome to 2022 YouTube, and handles and no longer have to, whatever it was before, you just be like, go to YouTube and search for this. And then like, I don't know if you guys ever searched for Capital Presence, but it was a whole lot of January 6th out there. And that is, I am glad that we have a handle now. So Capital Presence, capital with a O, CAPITOL, presence, like you hear. Thanks for hanging out, guys. If you have any questions, hit them in the comments. If you ever guys have any anything that you want us to talk about, drop us a line, either on YouTube or one of the social platforms, or you could just email us. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, guys. Until next time, thanks for hanging out. And hey there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for all the latest videos from Capital Presence.